Welcome to the You're Not Invisible After 50 podcast. I'm Kiran Kumar, founder and host of You're Not Invisible After 50. Despite the title, you don't have to be over 50 to listen to this podcast. No matter whether you're 25, 45, or 65, we can all learn lessons from each other to help us build a better, more fulfilled life. Come listen to the inspiring stories of all the phenomenal women over 50 who are kicking ass and making an impact. They are not invisible. I'm not invisible, and neither are you. So no matter what society says, life doesn't end at 50. In fact, it's just beginning. Welcome to the You Are Not Invisible After 50 podcast. I'm Kiran and host of this podcast. We're all about showcasing phenomenal women over 50 who are kicking ass and making an impact. You get to hear all their inspiring stories while you don't have to be invisible after 50. So sit back and enjoy the wonderful life story from this week's guest. My guest today is Rachana Yadav. Hi, Rachana.
Hi, hello, Kiran.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good and I'm very happy and excited to be here. And I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my life with people who I can empathize with and I like.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you, first of all, for choosing to come onto the podcast and agreeing, because that's the important thing, isn't it? Agreeing to come onto the podcast. So first of all, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself to our listeners in one line before we move to the body of this podcast.
If I have to say one line about myself, I would just say that I will never want to be invisible. I'm someone who will never want to be invisible.
I love
That's
that.
me.
I love that. And, we're going to talk more about that as we move forward. So in this podcast, we're going to cover your life story, the past, the present, and whether there was a trigger point at 50 before we move on to what you're doing in the future. So let's begin with the past. Anywhere you want to start, anything you want to say, just feel comfortable and share.
So my life was a little different from other kids. I was brought up in a house where both my parents were writers and they were fairly established and well-known writers. But as a child, of course, I did not understand the importance of their work because I didn't understand. They were into fictional writing and literature. But what I used to resent is that our house was full of books. And I didn't like it because I used to go to other children's homes and I used to see these lovely decoration pieces and all of that. And I used to say, why can't our house have that? But I guess that environment somewhere subconsciously kept seeping into me. And I think it evoked a certain creativity in me, which was just looking for an outlet. And outlet where I could express my own voice, because literature is also both my parents, I had seen them being very, very individualistic and very clear about their ideas, very sure about what they stood for, their ideologies, and they never hesitated. And writing was the expression or the channel they used to express. So I was brought up in a family which was about expressing their ideas and ideologies and creativity. So that was a very, very important part of my growing up. But I have switched jobs. So I started with advertising. I was there for about 7, 8 years. And then I realized that this was not what I wanted to do. Because one, I was not in the creative section of advertising. I was in the client servicing, where I was meeting the clients and presenting things to them. So at one point, I felt that I was just being dictated and by the clients, and it was not my expression. So I started feeling dissatisfied and stopped enjoying my job.
I think it's really interesting because I think if you're a creative person, I think you always are looking for your outlet and you don't recognize it for a while and you keep on searching, right? Your soul
Yes.
keeps on searching for this one thing that you're going to be doing. And it
Yeah.
takes a while to find it sometimes. Some people find it quite easily and early. Some people take a while, like I did as well.
Yes. So, so I wanted to quit. And my boss said, no, 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 you're just tired. Take a long break and come back. So I took a long break. I had lots of leave accumulated. So took about 3 months break. And as a hobby, because my mother was very good with, colors and aesthetic, and she used to we had small flats. We were not very, I wouldn't call our family an upper middle class or a rich family. We were a middle class family. So we had small homes, but she used to really keep it very well and keep it, use ideas which were way ahead of her times. So I guess I used to watch that, and it became a little bit of a hobby for me. I would help my friends do up their space or their rooms and do up my room. So I just, when I took this leave, a friend of mine, in fact, one of my juniors in office, he said that we've just taken a new flat. Why don't you help us do it? So I said, sure. So I did up his flat. I used those 3 months to do up his flat. And once I did up the flat, then there was the neighbor flats. It was a new building, so there were different flats. Some saw, and then somebody approached me, and somebody approached me, and slowly I was doing it professionally. And I said, wow, I'm really enjoying it. So I was alone, and I would sit and plan it. And I had 2, 3 carpenters who I'd called, and they would sit in my backyard and make the stuff. And so then after 3 months, when my leave got over, my boss said, now you must be really raring to go. I said, yes, I'm raring to come and resign, because I'm very sure I want to go now. Yes, I am raring to go, but not with advertising. So I just went and I put in my papers, I quit. And I started this, which started in a very small, modest manner, with me and my 2 carpenters and 1 painter, and I would just design stuff. And it was amongst friends. I was doing homes of known people, so there was not this heavy professional pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Although, yes, I had started charging, because they were buying furniture from me, but I was not very money. It was not a very money led or money oriented kind of projects. I was just doing it for my happiness, but it slowly grew. And I started getting calls, and I started getting small projects. So slowly, then I moved my office out of that. I took a small space and made it into a factory. And slowly it grew, and I was doing lots of projects. And I had a showroom, and I had a big factory, and it was all one business, which I was enjoying. And then I was pregnant at one point, so I got into a partnership, because I knew that alone I wouldn't be able to manage. And it just kind of grew till it came to a point that I was, half my time was going into looking at the workers' wages, the workers' management, running around to get our money, because suddenly we had lots of clients. And so I was again running around, and I was again being dictated by clients, because uh, interior design was a line which was a bit at a nascent stage at that point in time in Delhi.
Mm-hmm.
So the people didn't really know what it's all about, but they felt that, yes, if we hire an interior designer, it was more like a label. Oh, I got an interior designer to
Yeah.
do up my house. So it
Mm-hmm.
was that. So, but for them, and that was a time when exports was a big boom. And suddenly there was a whole group of neo-rich exporters who had suddenly come into a lot of money. So they would give money, but they would think that they have bought us. So they can call us up at 12 o'clock also, come and do this, deliver that. Why not today? So I was working Saturday, Sunday, and I said, this is not what I want to do. And at the end of it, giving them designs which they wanted, which is fine. After all, they have to live there. But when there were horrendous designs which just didn't agree with me, then it kind of pinched. So then again, it was one of those things that felt that this was not the creative expression that I was looking for, because it suddenly turned into a management and managing of a business thing.
And how long were you
And
doing that for?
I was doing it for about 8, 9 years,
Okay. Yeah.
uh, maybe a little about, yeah, that much.
Mm-hmm.
And, or maybe more, about 10, 12 years, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and nobody in my family is a business person. So business is not in my blood. I would feel very odd going and asking for money. I felt like I was begging it, although it was my money. They owed us. But
Yeah.
anyway, then the turning point of my life came, which I want to share. And my husband is a photographer. So he was shooting for this very renowned Kathak dancer. Kathak is a classical dance form of India. And so he was shooting for a very renowned Kathak dancer called Aditi Mangaldas. And so, because she was premiering her new production. So he shot for her brochures and all of that. And when the premiere happened, of course, she invited us for the show. And he said, listen, you come along because I don't want to go alone. I've shot it as a professional. I'm not really interested in classical dance. So I said, even I'm not. So I don't want to go. But he dragged me. And he said, no, 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 come because it'll look very bad if we don't go. So we should go. So we went. And I remember I was sitting and I watched this whole performance. And Kiran, it is so vivid in my mind that after the performance, everybody was clapping because it was a completely mesmerizing performance. And I was just sitting. I mean, I was just so mesmerized that I couldn't even move. I couldn't even move to clap. And I was just sitting and I was saying, wow. And this is a dance form which my mother was actually very keen that I learned. And when I was small, she had got one Guruji who used to come home to teach me. But I was alone and, just standing alone in a room initially for a few months, it was exciting, but then I started getting bored. And like I said, I was more into sports. So I was not really enjoying this. I did dance a little when I was in school. We used to have a class of Kathak, but that was like one of the school subjects. So I trained with this Guruji when I was small in class. I think I was in class 3 or 4, 5. I trained for a couple of years. And then I think he also realized, and I also realized that
it wasn't for
this is
you.
what I'm interested in. And I left. I was sitting there and I said, later I said, what have I left? Why did I not pursue it? I'm such an idiot. So I decided that I want to get back into dancing. I want to do this. And I didn't know where to start. I didn't know who to go to. So I went to the National Institute of Kathak, which is in Delhi. And I went there and I was told I was about 30. And I was told that you are overage. In fact, I was 32. And they said, we only take till 22, and you're overage. So I said, I didn't know what to do. Then I called someone else from somewhere and they said, you come, but I somehow, it didn't appeal. I didn't feel like I wanted to go to that place. Then I remembered my Guruji who used to come home and I said, I must try and trace him. So I traced him and he happened to be not very far from my house and I started going to his house for training. He was not teaching. So I had one baby then. I already had, which I told you that when I was pregnant, I got into a partnership. So the one baby was there. And so I would look after that baby and I started going for classes. And I had my studio and my factory was running. It couldn't have been wrapped up overnight. So that was still running and we still had work. So it was a tough time. And after about 3 classes with him, I conceived again with my going to my second child. And so I had to stop. And my Guruji thought, it was just one phase she went through, and now she'll get into baby looking after, and it's over. And so did everybody else. Everybody thought. Then once that baby happened, and by then I was 34 when I had my first baby. So this I'm talking about, I was 36 when I had, 36, 37 when I had the second baby. But I went right back. Once she was born and she was I could get back to my feet. I went right back and I said, nahi, mujhe seekhna hai. I mean, I have to learn.
I love the fact that, there was this moment in time where you saw something, you felt something, you recognized something that was going to be yours. And then also the fact that you didn't give up. The fact is you went back to it. It was still kind of ingrained in your soul that you wanted to do this. And I just think that's so wonderful because, you've got to follow your life passion. because without it, everything seems to be kind of meaningless, right? And you just think, okay, but you have to, coming back to the point that we talked about earlier, you have to search for it and then recognize it. And you did recognize it in that moment when you watch somebody else.
So I didn't know at that point in time that this is what my future will be. I just knew that I have to do it. I didn't know what, I had not thought of the next day, but I just said, I have to do this. And so I went back and I started learning. And those days were because he told me very clearly, he said that, look, I don't teach. I'm teaching you. He had a regular job. He says, I come back at 6 in the evening, 7 in the evening from office. I'm tired, but I take out time to teach you only if you're serious. Otherwise, I don't want to waste my time. So you have to. And since you have wasted so many years, that time when I was teaching you, when you were a kid, if you had continued, you would have been a dancer by now, established dancer. So you'll have to work doubly hard. So I used to get up in the morning and I used to do my riyaz. Riyaz is practice. The Hindi word for practice is riyaz. I used to do my riyaz every morning for about an hour, then get my kids ready, drop one to play school, just spend it, then go for work, then finish my work, then in the evening go for my class. At least 3 times a week I would do that. And so a couple of years I did that. And then I said that I need to. Then one day it so happened that I met Aditi ji, whose performance had turned me around in one concert. And I asked her, do you teach? And she said, I don't teach right now, but I'm planning to. And if I do, I will call you. So she took my number and all of that. And suddenly one day I got a call that I've started classes. And then I just went there. And I went there and I started learning with her. So I think I was just lucky. I was lucky to have found a teacher like her. I was lucky to have found my first Guruji because he really taught very honestly and sincere. Then I was lucky to have found a teacher like her. She had a company, which was an ongoing company and a repertory, and they were performing. So I used to go and sit there and I was to watch them practice. And I said, wow, they're so good. And slowly, I used to just go and sit there and hang around and watch. And then sometimes just stand up and try and do something. But I was very, very, basic stages. But since I was in sports and I was initially into gymnastics and all, she was doing a contemporary piece. So I tried my hand at that and it kind of worked. And it so happened that they had a performance in Bangalore and one of the dancers got pregnant. So they needed a filler and I stepped in. And that was my first performance. And I just couldn't believe. I couldn't sleep for 2 nights that I'm actually going to be performing with one of the best repertories in the country, where I had just learned for 3 or 4 years by then. But it was just like a dream come true to travel with the troupe, I just couldn't believe. And as I was getting deeper and deeper into learning, slowly I wrapped up my business. My partner had moved to the US because her husband had gone. So I just wrapped up my business. I finished it took me a couple of years to wrap up slowly. Because it was quite a well established business. So I did that. And then I was fully into dance. And then I knew that this is what, I guess it was also that urge of, like I said, that there was an unsatisfied physical expression through physical activity, because I was always a very physically active person. And for many years in advertising and interiors, it was just desk. I mean, there was no physical outlet of any kind of an activity like that. So I guess that is why dance appealed to me, or I don't know. But it was just, I knew that this is it. And then slowly, I learned, I worked, I did have to work hard. And she was very particular about, your shape. So I had to get into diets and exercise and yoga and everything. And there would be yoga classes. So it was then I was part of the company. It was like work, 10 o'clock in the morning till 5:30 in the evening. And it was very, very rigorous and strenuous training. So that helped. And thereafter, I found my own company because I started teaching. We built a new house. I made sure that I had which is where I'm sitting right now, my studio. I built a full studio in the basement. And I started teaching because teaching taught me more than anything. I mean, when I would teach, I would realize the mistakes the children were making is that those are the mistakes I make, which I can't see myself, but I could see. So you learn a lot. So teaching also helped me grow as a dancer.
And this actually brings you to what you're doing, right? So you're saying that you know that you've actually got the studio, you're actually teaching. Are you still dancing as well as part of that?
Yes, very much. So then I started choreographing because that is where my own thoughts and my own creative expressions got an outlet. And Aditi Mangaldas, my guru, she is one of the best choreographers in the, I would say, as a Kathak choreographer, one of the best in the world. I learned a lot watching her choreograph. I learned a lot about not just the choreography, but the aesthetics of choreography, the aesthetics of a presentation. And so I slowly started, once I formed my own company in 2010 is when I left her company. When I say left means I started getting more involved with my own independent work. I still go there. There are also off and on I perform in her group whenever she wants us to. But I started having my own repertory and my own choreographies, and I've been ever since performing actively all over in India as well as overseas. So this is where the dance journey is. But then something else happened in my
Mm-hmm.
life in 2013, which was completely unexpected. What happened was, like I said, my parents were writers, and my father was editing and publishing this magazine, a literary magazine called Hans. Hans means a swan. And this
Mm-hmm.
was a magazine which actually was started in 1930 by a very legendary Hindi writer called Premchand. He's a big name in
Mm-hmm.
Hindi literature. And that was the time when India was this whole national movement and the struggle for independence was also. The Hans was a magazine which, through fiction, was raising voices
Mm-hmm.
and protesting and rebelling and, being a part of national movement. In fact, Gandhiji was at some point also on the advisory board of the editorial board of the
Wow.
magazine. Yeah, so it
Interesting.
was a big magazine. And then it kind of died because Premchand passed away, but, the magazine couldn't be sustained. Then in 1986, my father bought over the rights from Premchand's family, and he restarted this magazine, and it became the biggest literary magazine, which was a platform for raising marginalized voices, women writing. So Hans is a magazine which actually brought up this whole body of women writers and Dalit writers.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big move. It's like a movement. It's a very big thing in Hindi literature. And I'm the only child. So often later, when my father was not keeping well, he used to say that, you should start taking interest. And I said that, look, literature is not my line. You know me, I've never hardly read. I'm not a writer. Uh, I don't know this world. So don't expect me to step into this. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh, I'll be gone, then you can see what." And his whole life was Hans, because it was such an institution, and he
Mm-hmm.
had become such an institution because of that. So when he passed away, nobody asked me to, but he passed away on 28th of October, and on 1st of November, I was in Hans' office. And I realized that I had to do this. I had to take this over. I can't let all his entire life's work go down the
Work.
drain simply because.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, you recognize what your parents have done. And there's sometimes this thing about having a legacy, right? And, he worked so hard in what he was doing and made it his life's mission. And I think as a child, you want to carry that on. I started what I've started and I want to grow this, but I've made sure that my children are going to pick up the reins once I'm no longer here, because why do all this work and let it just die, right? Why do
Yeah.
that? Let's do this work and let it continue long after you've gone. And I think it's really honorable when you actually respect your parents and respect the work that they've done. And so applause to you, really, credit goes to you.
Yes. So I am not the editor. He had decided who the editor will be, but I own the magazine. I'm the publisher and I run the magazine. And that office is 35 kilometers from my house. So today my life is that I 3 times a week, post lunch, I go to that office. In the mornings, morning is my time. Morning is my exercise, my yoga, my practice, dance practice or whatever. And then I go to office 3 times a week. And the other 2 days I stay at home because those are the 2 days I'm teaching in the evenings, classes, because I have an institute and I have about close to 60 students. I don't teach all of them. I also have another faculty member who works for my institute, and she teaches on the days I go to office. I teach the 2 days I stay back. I teach those days. So this is how it is. So I'm right now running 2 professions. And I have also expanded Hans because we are doing lots of events. We are doing lots of seminars, symposiums, literature festivals. So it's suddenly become very, not suddenly, but yes, I work towards trying to make it more appealing to the younger generation because those are our future readers and writers. So it is lot of hard work and my
Using your mental cognitive
my
ability.
brain time goes a lot on that, and then rest of it is dance. So I'm trying to manage both and
Well,
surging ahead.
I love that because it's mind, body, and soul, right? So, you're
Yeah.
exercising all of those kind of areas of your life because, you're working actively in terms of your mind and your body, well, of course, with all the dance, etc. And of course, you're filling a need in your soul. So I think it's great. You've got it all covered very, very nicely. And, Rachana, this is probably what was supposed to happen. You said you were lucky, XYZ, but those things are meant to happen. They're that's your path, which the universe wants you to, go along. And you don't find it. The universe just tells you in a way, just prompts you and puts things in place in order for you to follow your path. So I think it's been wonderful. So we're now going to go to a commercial break. And when we're back, we're going to talk about what the future looks like and also the bonus part of the podcast. Did you know that You Are Not Invisible After 50 is not just about our highly acclaimed global podcast? Our mission is to empower all women, regardless of colour, creed, class, and culture, across all countries and continents. So we have 2 empowering courses for you: a free masterclass, Building a Life You Love, creating your own path after 50. This transformative masterclass is one that you've been waiting for. Are you ready to seize life after 50 like never before? Well, say goodbye to feeling stuck and say hello to the life you love. Don't let age define your limits. Let it ignite your possibilities. This transformative masterclass is your ticket to a vibrant and fulfilling future. But that's not all. Coming in November, we have our innovative introductory business course, Grey to Gold. In today's dynamic business world, age should never be a barrier to success. Say goodbye to age-related stereotypes and hello to unstoppable success. Our half-a-day course will equip you with the skills and confidence you need to conquer the business world. Discover the true value of your experience, reinvent yourself, stay competitive, and master the art of self-presentation. It's time to turn your grey into gold. Don't wait, your future is brighter than ever before. Visit our website and check out our courses geared to propel you to the next level. So embrace your age, utilize your wisdom and experience, and own your success. Spots are limited. Also, we have other wonderful products launching in the new year, so keep a watch on our social media posts and website for more information. www.youarenotinvisibleafter50.com. We talked about the present in terms of the dancing and also the magazine. Let's talk about what the future is for you. What does that look like? Do you plan, or do you just let things happen in their own way and go with the flow?
Oh, in that way, I'm a bit strange because I actually live for today. I can't see too much in the future. I can't do too much planning. But at the same time, yes, there are some visions and ideas which are there, and I want to work towards those. but I don't have very long-term plans.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing something, if I'm planning an event, it is okay, let me plan it to the best of my capability right now and do it. Let's see where it leads me. We'll see that later, where it leads me. So that's how I work. But at the same time, I'm also the kind of person who cannot work if I don't see a challenge, if I don't set a challenge for myself. For example, when I joined advertising, I told myself 5 years and I want to be an account director.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm useless. So I would work towards it. Then when I joined dance, I said 5 years and I want to give a solo performance. So,
Mm-hmm.
I need to set such goals which are in immediate future or a little, far future. But without that, it is always, there has to be a challenge for me to, or there has to be something that I am working towards. I, so that has been, but at the same time, if you ask me, uh, so where do you see yourself 10 years from now? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, some people are planners. I mean, I'm a planner, but I don't really plan my life that far advanced now. But you're right in terms of having goals. You have to have those kind of milestones that you have to reach. Otherwise, where's the growth going to come? You can't just meander. This is what I tell my children. You can't meander through life. Well,
Yeah.
some people like meandering through life because they're happy in doing that. But I feel that you do have to have a goal. You have to set yourself a target because
Yes.
without that, where's the growth? Where's the achievement? Where's the satisfaction? What is this all for? And I think you have to have that in order to expand and grow and flourish. Otherwise you get quite stale and unsatisfied in what you're doing.
Yeah, and also to be able to focus, because whether it is dance, which is almost like in Hindi, the word is sadhana.
Mm-hmm.
When you are completely immersed into something, and even if when this magazine thing, like I said, that this whole world of literature, I've grown up in it, but I was never a part of it, active part of it. But somehow, it just slowly, I just feel very comfortable and I actually quite enjoy it. I may have started as a sheer sense of responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
and also thinking that if I don't do it, I'll die of guilt. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually enjoying it. I'm loving it. I love the challenge of running a magazine in today's time, which itself is a big challenge. Nobody reads, printing is so expensive. There's
Mm-hmm.
hardly people who are, sponsoring. So it's a very big challenge. You know how it is. Most of the magazines have closed down. So there we are trying to stay afloat with our banner up. And so,
And is there a plan to go digital with this as
yeah,
well?
we have gone digital. So I have a digital team and all of that. But everything is a struggle. Every day is a struggle for money and funds. But I guess that is what keeps me going. If everything was fine, I would have probably gotten bored.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that, with all this in the world that we live in today, there's so much kind of information. There's so much out there, and people have to filter through it and read it. And I think it's really quite inspiring and quite what's the word I'm looking for? But I think it's so nice to have something that dates back. It's nostalgic,
Yeah,
actually. It dates back to so many years. It's got a history. It's not a new magazine. It's not today's magazine. It
yeah.
has it has a past. It has a story behind it, and it has a mission. So first of all, congratulations for taking it on and moving it forward. So I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I think, and I think what you were saying earlier, you weren't part of that community, but you certainly took it on. And it was like all by osmosis. You must have absorbed all those things when you were in your childhood. And then later again, it came out in its own way of form. So
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Is there anything else
Thank
you
you.
want to tell us before we move to the bonus part of the podcast?
Oh, no, I think one thing which I guess is that when I started working in this magazine, in fact, both the times when I entered the field of dance, because I had entered at an age where most of the dancers had peaked
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, so that is why I was a beginner. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to fight many inhibitions within myself, because when I
Mm-hmm.
was standing and Uh, but I guess if you really want to do something, then it's so initially I was looked at with a bit of a suspicion and bit of a disapproval that why are you, and it so happened that I was part of the best repertory in the country. So many dancers who would uh, do anything to get into that repertory would sing, why she hardly knows anything, or she just started dancing. But so you have to prove yourself, you have to just be very obstinate and thick skinned. And the same thing happened in when I started running the magazine, because Hans was such a big brand name amongst Hindi writers that there were many writers who thought that after my father would go, maybe they will get Hans, or maybe they will, but it didn't happen.
Mhm.
And most of the writers and readers looked at me with suspicion that where she's never shown her face, we've never seen her, and suddenly she's come here to run the magazine, she'll ruin it, it'll be closed down. So there was a lot of disapproval again. So how slowly one has to, the journey has been to be able to win them over slowly with your own little steps, or win their confidence, win them over by that they start having some belief in you that yes, you are not going to let their favorite magazine die. In fact, whatever you're doing for them.
I think it's not only just winning people over. I mean, I'm not one. I've actually moved away from pleasing people, right? I do my thing because I love it, right? I enjoy it. And at the end of the day, if anybody wants to come with you on that journey, please step aside, step aboard and come on this journey with me, because I'm going to do my own thing. This is what it's about. It's about believing in what you're doing, having that passion, and having the drive to do it. And if people see it, I mean, I actually put a post out this week when someone, and funny enough, it was Saparna, who sent me a poem, right, which meant so much to me that I put it as a post. And also the fact that because she admired me for what I was doing, it's like, yes, please, some people see you, some people don't see you at all. And there's some people who actually appreciate what you're doing. And it's those people that you want along with you. Everybody else can step aside or get off, right? And I think it's about pleasing yourself. It's about doing what comes naturally. It's about what feels good for you. And if it feels good for you and it's right, just carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you fully.
Thank you for
That's
that.
why I say that I don't plan. I just started many literary awards. Hans used to give in my father's time one award to the best story. This time I opened it out to all the genres: story, poetry, ghazal, short story, everything. So we gave 11 awards. And everybody kept saying, you're taking such a big, it's the first time in the history of Hindi literature that 11 awards were given on the same platform. And they said, you're starting this, but you remember that this kind of thing has to be sustained. Then you should have enough to be able to do it every year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think like that. I said, okay, we've done it this year, we'll somehow manage it next year. But let me do
Mm-hmm.
it this year, then we'll see. And hopefully we will be able to do it next year and the next. And if one day we can't do it, then we can't do it. What to do? But let's do it till we can. But
Well,
thinking,
what I would say to you is have the faith, have the belief, and everybody else will follow, right? Those who want to
yeah,
see it and make it happen will actually be there for you.
yeah,
So
true.
let's move on. So let's move on to the bonus part of the podcast. So this is where you give 5 tips to anyone who's under 50 from your life experience, your knowledge, everything.
Okay, so the first most important thing, and being in India, which is such a country of faith and religion, I'm an atheist. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I'm not trying to tell people to become atheists. No, please follow your faith, your religion. But I feel that when we are sitting in front of, or when we are sitting praying to God, asking God to give you something, first remember that God has already given you something, which is the God has given you this body and sent you on this earth. So first, recognize that is the gift. The biggest prayer to God will be to respect what God has given you and look after it. We are complacent when we are young. We think this is how we will be. We are nice and healthy, but you don't know when it will go. So I think looking after health is the biggest thing. Please look after your health, because if you are a healthy person, you keep yourself open to doing all kinds of things, because a lot of times I feel that health becomes a big deterrent where you're not able to do things which you would want to do. So it's important that at a very young age, from a young age, we start respecting our bodies, respecting our minds, respecting our thoughts, and looking after them. I think that is one of the most uh, important things for you to follow any kind of path later. My second tip would be that if you have recognized or found a talent in yourself, in school, some girls are good with painting, some are good with dance, music, singing, pursue it. I meet so many people who say that, oh, I used to paint a lot in school, but then I gave up. Why? It's a gift. Again, it's a gift. Never give it up. And if you have, for whatever reason, you had to come back to it, don't just lament and say, oh, I had to give up. No, you didn't have to give up. You decided to give up.
It's actually quite interesting, that one, because, in our culture, I mean, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in India or any part of the world, as an Asian or as an Indian, right? You're told, why are you doing that? What's the point of it? What's it going to bring you? There's no reward here. There's no monetary kind of, payback. But at the end of the day, I think you feel that no one really should dictate what you should be doing. If you have a natural gift for, as you said, Rachana, for painting or writing or whatever it may be, dancing, then you should do it. And if you have to put it to one side, come back to it. As I did as well, because I came back to poetry, and it's not something that I see myself doing full time, but it's my outlet. And I did it as a child. And, 40 odd, 50 odd years on, 30 years on, I pursued it again. There was something there. And I think you do need to come back to it, because it's about feeding your soul.
Yeah. So that's very important, that don't give it up. I meet some people who have amazing voices, in parties and things, they would sing. And I said, what a voice. You should have trained it. Oh, I just didn't get time. And I just feel what a waste. What a waste. But so I just feel that, recognize if you have, that's again a gift, from a natural gift that you've got from God or from nature, or whatever you believe in, from the universe, but don't let it go. So,
very good. Yes. Number 3
that
then.
would be my second tip. Then I would say that, today's life is so stressful. And I see young girls after 24, 25, they got to get into these high-flying corporate jobs, and they're running from morning to meetings. And especially now after this COVID, there are online sessions. And once it's work from home, then there is no end point. They're working till 8, 9, 10, middle of the night, clients or in America. So there's, time. And they have such stressful jobs. And I just feel that creative outlet is very important. I think any kind of creative outlet, anything which is almost like therapeutic to you, because that will balance your mind. Our mind is juggling all the time. It's balancing, juggling time, juggling activities. You're looking for younger ones, yes, but for the ones who are married, they're trying to manage their homes, manage their children, manage their work, go for meetings, travel, work travel. It's such a juggle that you need a little time just to relax and enjoy any kind. It could be pottery. Pottery is a big therapeutic thing. Could be just walking. Could be just, watching birds in the morning. Could be just photography. Anything. Anything. And I'm not saying make it a profession. Just if you give a little time every day to some kind of a creative outlet, that is really, otherwise all these medical ailments at young ages that we hear of is they are scary. So a creative outlet which will calm your mind and balance it is very important, very, very important. Because otherwise, our children are seeing that. Our children are seeing one mother running from one thing to the other, eat, go, bag, and what are they imbibing? They are just imbibing this is life, and they turn into another set of such people. So it's almost like a factory producing stressed out people, one generation after the other. There has to be a break.
It's actually quite interesting because, after COVID, where we had to all stop, right? We actually had to stop what we were doing. You would think that we would have learned from that. And some people have, and some people haven't. And in fact, in the UK, and I think in the States, there's now a push to get people back into work and do those long commutes. I mean, I'm glad I'm out of all of that nonsense. to be honest, and I just feel that we haven't really learned. You can be productive in all sorts of ways. You do need to have this very healthy life-work balance, because you have to think about your own mental health, and not just mental health, because that then moves into your physical health, right? So you're right, stop rushing about, take some time out, take a breather, whatever that looks like, and take space and time for yourself. Yes. Because that's healthy.
Yeah. So I would say that is just any kind of a creative outlet.
Number 4.
Yeah. Number 4 is that, we all have friends from childhood and all of that. That is fine. But always have a group of people who are somewhere challenging you all the time. That is important. Because if we are the kind of people, I wanted to do this, but I can't do this because I can't find time, and you have 5 other people around you saying the same thing, then you feel it's fine. But if you try and look for people who are doing something different, who are doing something which you would want to do, because then they pose those challenges. They get you to think. When you watch someone, you may be envious, or you may think they are mad, but somewhere they are forcing you to think and rethink. So always have a peer group that challenges you. Yeah, the 5th one is that never underestimate yourself. Never think that this is beyond me. Some things can be beyond you because they require a certain, maybe physical, this thing, which at a certain age you can't, but you can work around it. You can think of different ways of doing a certain thing, but there's always a way if you really believe in yourself. You'll be surprised to find how you can control your circumstances, to what extent, rather than the circumstances controlling us. We always think it is the circumstances that are controlling us. It may be true, but your power is more than you can turn things around if you really get to it.
Absolutely.
I feel.
So let's do the 3 tips to anyone who's over 50 and listening.
First is, again, over 50 is when I'm heavily into and obsessed with the health issue. I think that is very important, that we give up. After 50, our mind says, now we are over. What's there to? That becomes the attitude, which is a very wrong attitude, which is a very, very wrong attitude. Because that's the day your mind says, oh, now I'm over the hill. I'm done. What is there to? I mean, no, you can still, that's when your health will start going down. So never turn that switch on, that I'm over the hill. You're not.
I think it's really interesting what you've just said, because this is really one of the purposes of getting women to tell their stories and showing up as women over 50, because there are women over 50 who are on social media, who are active or out there. There's a lot of women who are still thinking the way you've just said, I'm too old, I can't do this, what's the point, right? But there's every single point. There's every single point, because as you just said, Rachana, is that until whilst you're on this planet, on this earth, make the most of it. The day you can't, because you physically can't, then okay, things change. But whilst you can, you should keep on going. This is what, like, changing this narrative that you're not invisible over 50, that it's not over after 50. You're still the person that you are, and you should just go for it.
Yeah. So that is, and everything actually after 50, all my tips would be related to that. That, it's never too late. It's never too late to live your passion. It is never too late. And if you think it is late and I can't do it, which means it's not your passion. The word passion has been used very freely and very easily. It has a lot of depth. I hear people just passingly say, oh, that's my passion. That's my passion. No, it's not. If it was, you would have done something about it. To say, oh, I love singing. It's my passion, but my work, my family, my this, then it's not your passion. If it was your passion, means you're completely consumed by it to a point that you will find a way amongst all problems. You will find a way. And if you haven't, and if you're not willing to make that effort to find a way, then it is not your passion. That upsets me when people use passion so, casually. Because
I love that.
So I just feel it's never too late. And age should not deter you. Yes, I can understand that, you have a medical issue, or you have a situation at home which is not allowed. All that is still understandable. But to say that, oh, I'm 50 plus, so I can't do this. Why can't you do it? And the last thing I would say is that all this is possible, or all this happens when you have a purpose in life. To define a purpose for whatever it may be. My mother used to say a very nice thing, which I would like to share, and it would be like a tip. She said that don't just be a drop in the ocean. Try and be that wave that crashes against the cliff and comes back and then goes and clashes. But be the wave that moves the ocean. So what she wanted to say is that make a difference. You have got this one life. Leave something which people will remember you with, and leave something which will benefit people. So have a purpose in life. So, a purpose which is not just that I want to live this nice, rich, luxurious life, eat well, drink well, and die one day. I mean, that is also fine. That is also fine. I don't look down upon people who have that. But along with that, just have a purpose which is more inclusive of other people, where you are sharing. And everybody, like I said, everybody has some strength or the other. That I refuse to. It's just that we don't let it come out, or we don't recognize it. That is a separate thing. But everybody has something to give.
I just love all of that. Sorry, I just love all of that, because it's not about thinking about yourself and being selfish in terms of your own needs. It's about fulfilling a greater need for the benefit of others. And I think that's really empowering. And if you can empower other people, isn't that what it should be about? It's helping.
And also you'll be surprised when we empower other people, and when we get the kind of satisfaction it gives you, nothing else gives you. You suddenly, in your eyes, you become great for yourself, and you feel, oh, I've done this. See, if so many people are happy, that is fine. So if you're selfish, look at it from a selfish point of view, that how, if you do something for others, they will always remember you.
And it's not all about self-satisfaction. It's about, what can you change for the world? Yes. What can you change? Even if it's not the world, what can you change for one person? One person is more than yourself, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And your purpose can change. There's nothing wrong with that. Today I feel very strongly about this. 5 months later, I feel very strongly about something else. That's fine. Purpose can change with time, with life, with experiences, with knowledge. Purpose can change. But people may call you flighty, but that's fine. As long as you're working towards something and there is a purpose you are working towards. That is important. So.
Just love that. So what I just like to say, Rachana, it's been a brilliant and wonderful and enlightening conversation, and I'm so glad that you took the time to have this conversation with me.
No, I would like to thank you once again that you gave me this chance to come and share my thoughts and my experiences with everybody. I just hope and I wish everybody all the best, that people have a fulfilling and enriching life, because we have one life. Let's just live it to the fullest, and let's make sure that, we make a difference. And thank you so much, Kiran.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the You're Not Invisible After 50 podcast. If you want to hear more from some amazing women who are over 50, who are kicking ass and making impact, then don't forget to follow us right here on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Remember to subscribe, rate, comment, and share with other women through your social media. Let's spread the word across the world that you don't have to be invisible after 50. Check out our other services on www.you'renotinvisibleafter50.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. And always remember that life doesn't end at 50. In fact, it's just beginning. But wait, we have even more to offer. Join us and tune in to our other podcast, Shamelessly Untamed, a transformative series that encourages you to embrace your true self and celebrate your uniqueness. Make sure to subscribe to Shamelessly Untamed podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Don't forget to rate, comment, and share with anyone who can benefit from its content. Explore our additional services at www.roaringahead.com and be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. We look forward to you connecting with us. Thank you.